We're not starting quite yet, but I wanted you to know, if you'd like to light a candle, this is the moment to do so. This is our pre-worship service candle lighting time, since we have our associate's installation today. So if you'd like to light a candle, come on and do that now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to South Church on this wonderful, warm, sunny day. I'm Reverend Ellen Quaadgras, and I serve in co-leadership with Kirsten Hunter and in shared ministry with all of you. Whether you are coming in through familiar doors or whether you're watching online from your kitchen table, whether you're arriving what to expect, or you've been coming here for years, you belong here. Bring your questions, your hopes, your weariness, your joy, whatever you're carrying today. There is a place for you here. Today, as we anticipate Juneteenth Sunday, Juneteenth rather, on Friday, we come together to think about freedom, what it means, how far we still have to go, and how everyday people can help make the world a little more loving, a little more just, and a little more hopeful. We're not here because we've got it all figured out. We're here because there's something meaningful about wondering and learning and growing together. Today, I'm grateful for Chris George, who is helping lead worship with me today as our worship associate. Grateful for Jonny Peiffer and Kathy O'Kaizen offering our music. For Jen Leiden making this service available to all those kitchen tables or living rooms or bedrooms or wherever y'all are watching. And grateful for Jen Deo-Barry, who's going to lead our time for all ages, after which our youngest are invited downstairs or outside for religious education. And after the service, all are invited outside onto the portico. Bless the warmer weather for that, for coffee, treats, tea, and conversation. And while I invite you to engage with each other in any way you like, I particularly invite you to talk with someone you do not know well. And here's a question to consider. To ask someone you don't know well as part of our welcoming culture, on a scale from can explain the offside rule in detail to just learn the World Cup is actually soccer, where are you on that continuum? As always, we invite you to silence your cell phones. Large print hymnals and listening devices are available in the back. We have a couple of announcements. One is that, one moment please, we will be celebrating Pride next Saturday, June 20th. Your presence means a great deal to the LGBTQ plus community. Short walk from Market Square to the festival grounds, steps off around noon. Also, Nuclear Weapons Now, that presentation is happening today. You can find out more in your order of service. And Seacoast Unity Hub will gather on June 25th. Mark your calendar to explore how we can make the biggest difference between now and November. We'll talk about voter engagement, how to be strategic with our time and energy, and practical, nonpartisan ways to strengthen democracy and support our communities. Great way to connect with others, learn what's already happening, find a place to plug in, bring a friend, and join us. And we have a Pocket Garden Tour announcement. Yeah. Yay. We got a mic for you. Thank you, Kathy.
Morning. This is the last announcement from the Pocket Garden Tour this year, but this is great. Next Friday and Saturday is the 37th annual Pocket Garden Tour, and really, I'm here to say thank you. We have got volunteers to sit in every single garden already, and isn't that amazing because of all of you? And we are only short 8 dozen cookies. So if you want to bake, come and see us outside at the table. The other thing I want to tell you is if you did sign up to be a garden host, you can pick up your packets outside in the shade. Robin, Schnell, and Ginny will be out there after coffee hour, so please do that. But the only other thing we need is maybe one more person to help us at will call to sell tickets and hand out tickets from people who bought them online on Saturday afternoon. So if you're interested, come and see me. But I want to talk to you about next year. We are looking at doing next year's tour in September. Imagine all the beautiful annuals and all the perennials that are going to be blooming in September. But we need to find a neighborhood and some gardens. So in the next couple weeks in your order of service, you're going to see some information. Please look at it, send us some ideas. It's not too early to be thinking about next year, but thank you.
Thank you, Joe. As we gather this morning, we acknowledge that we do so on the traditional homeland of the Abenaki and other Wabanaki peoples who've lived on and cared for this land for generations. On this Sunday, where we anticipate Juneteenth, as we reflect on freedom and truth and the stories a nation chooses to remember, may this acknowledgement remind us that an honest telling of history is part of the work of justice, as are practices of learning, relationship, and repair.
Today's chalice lighting is by Stephen Lingwood. We light this chalice, symbol of the light within us and around us. May the gathering for our worship enlighten our hearts and our minds and our souls. And may the inner light of the Spirit be kindled by our time together. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in reciting the mission statement that is printed in your order of service. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. This coming Friday is June 19th, and it brings to mind an historical time in our nation's history. On that date, in 1865, Major General Gordon Granger read General Order Number 3 to the people of Galveston, Texas, alerting them that all enslaved people were now free and had absolute rights with their previous slave owners. The Emancipation Proclamation had been issued 2.5 years before this reading, but the 250,000 enslaved people in Texas had not been alerted. Instead, they lived their lives like the Emancipation Proclamation had not happened. 457 miles northwest, still in the heart of Texas, there lies the town of Sweetwater. The time was the 1930s, and Jim Crow laws were the order of the day. My Uncle Howard had grown up in a farming community in the area, and had gotten his degree in education at the university. He accepted a position in the county as an assistant superintendent of schools. Early in his career, he faced the issue of what to do with a group of textbooks that a white school had replaced with new ones. Growing up as a farmer, he had learned not to be wasteful of things. He decided to send them to be used by a black school that did not have textbooks. In his mind, he was not taking a stand for equal education among blacks and whites. He was simply looking to make the textbooks useful. He quickly learned that others in the school administration, including the superintendent, did not agree with his outlook. He was reprimanded and he left the field of education to return to farming not long after that. When my dad told me the story, he told it without embellishment. And yet there was something in the way that he told it that made me think there was something he was proud of in Uncle Howard. Since these times, there have been clear steps forwards with legal cases such as Brown versus the Board of Education and the election of a president of color. And there have been assaults on the progress in the form of how we weigh the votes of people of color. They come as lawsuits against colleges try to ensure that these schools do not take diversity into consideration. They come as communities in our nation unabashedly choose positions favoring whites over blacks and others. Despite these setbacks and disappointments, I turn to the words of Martin Luther King Jr. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. That phrase has always soothed me. I want to believe that we are inevitably moving towards justice, but the words of Congresswoman Shontel Brown strike me as possibly more accurate as she questions the inevitability of the arc turning towards justice. And she states that it only does so because people pull it towards justice. It is an active exercise and not a passive one. In this time of active assaults on diversity and equality, let us be reminded of our role in pulling the arc towards justice. Today, on this Juneteenth Sunday, we gather to celebrate freedom, to tell the truth about what is still unfinished, and to remember that justice does not bend on its own. It bends because people keep reaching for more love, more hope, more peace, and more freedom. And now please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 95, There Is More Love.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
One of the ways a community practices freedom is by refusing the story that we are each on our own. And every person who volunteers helps build a wider net. Every person who teaches, greets, sings, serves, tends, visits, organizes, repairs, welcomes, or listens helps create a community where more love becomes real here. And this morning, we celebrate our worship, our new member associate installation, and I now turn the mic over to Anne as she leads us in that ceremony.
Anne Deminoff, and I have the privilege of serving with Elaine Beauchesne and Jackie Ellis on the shared ministry team. In this role, we help support and guide the associate program. Associate programs are integral to our vision of shared ministry and collaboration here at South Church. The associate programs support, assist, and amplify the work that Reverend Ellen and Kirsten do, ministering to our congregation. These associate programs shape and support the ministry we offer to one another within this community and beyond. Today, we have the honor of recognizing those congregants among us who have served or will be serving as associates in 5 areas of ministry: fellowship, learning, pastoral care, social justice, and worship. And right now, I invite all associate group members, current and continuing associates, new associates, and those completing a term at this time, to please come to the front and gather with your associate group. We'll share your names in a moment. We ask new associate members to commit to a term of 2 years with the option to continue a second term. Some of these associates will continue their service into the next church year, while others have completed 1 or 2 terms, will be moving on to new adventures within our congregation. We also warmly welcome all new associates. So associates, when I call your name, if you could give a little wave so we can all put a name to a face, whether you're still in your pew or coming down or standing with your group. And for the congregation, please hold your applause until the end. So we start by honoring the fellowship associates. Continuing associates are Louise Cameron and Carol Pivor, who have been co-conveners this past term, Maleta Eng, Kim Rivest, Tracy Lipset, Mo O'Leary, Kevin Leahy, and joining the team, Myra Aronson and Alice O'Trainer. Next, we name the Learning Associates. Continuing are Ann Sherpick and Valerie Fagan, who have been co-conveners. Joining the team is Ann Driscoll, and completing their term are Mary Bannock and Tricia Hanley. We recognize our pastoral associates, Catherine Smith is continuing, a co-convener. Donna Malillo, Hillary Clark, Sue Peterson. Joining the team are Rachel Eichenbaum, Carol Cameron Sears, Betty Olivlo, and Joanne Piazzi. And completing their term is Greg Burwood, also has been a co-convener, and Carlo Natoli. Next, we thank our social justice associates, continuing BJ Lates and Tess Feltz, who have been co-conveners, Anita Rosef, Deanna Strand, Barbara Ballantyne, Shannon Casey, Catherine DiPentima, and Martha Netch. And joining the social justice team is Monica Greenleaf. Completing her term is Janet Pulaski. And we raise up the worship associates, continuing Chris Kuiper as convener, Chris George, Mitch Pivor, Willow Young, Catherine Erickhart. Joining the team, Jesse Noyce, Robin Carlson, and our two youth representatives, Lily Ann Mangold and Declan Brown. Completing their term are Anna Howard, Becky May, and Harper Barstow, another youth representative. I am the convener currently of shared ministry with Jackie Ellis and Elaine Beauchesne. And completing her term is Alice O'Trainer, who has been convener of shared ministry for some years. We're pleased to recognize these groups that contribute so much to our congregation. In church communities, as in all human endeavors, it takes a village. We encourage you to find these associates, and I am just so very awed by how many there are here in front of us at Social Hour, and thank them for all their work. With our gratitude, let's give them all a good round of applause. Woo-hoo! All right, and everyone may be seated. Thank you.
All right, it's time for a story, so I'd like to invite all kids to come over. Come on over for a story. And any adults who would like to hear most of the story are invited to come up. But there is a part that's just for kids that we have to figure out how to pass around quietly. Any more kids that want to come over and hear some exciting news that is for kids only? Okay, something exciting that I want to share with just the kids. And I would never ask you to keep a serious secret from your grown-ups. But this kind of relates a little bit to my story. So I want to see if we can spread this information to kids only. So I'm going to tell one person, and then kids, you help each other know this quietly, okay? Can I start with you? No, you did not. You did not hear that. All right, kids, keep spreading the word to just kids. Make sure they all hear it if we want it to come true. So while they're doing that, like Chris said, this Friday is Juneteenth. And that's a day where we remember June 19th, 1865, when Union soldiers arrived in Texas to share the news that all enslaved people in Texas would be free. The thing is, President Lincoln had already signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which already said 2 years before that all enslaved people should be free. So why weren't the people of Texas already free? And there are several reasons for that. One reason was political, and it was because people in the southern states really were benefiting, or some people in the southern states were really benefiting from slavery, more so than the states in the north. And so the states in the south said, if we can't practice slavery, we don't want to be part of the United States of America. So we're not going to participate. So you're not the boss of us, President Lincoln. And so the northern states and southern states decided to go to war over it, and they were fighting about it. Another reason why the people of Texas weren't free or didn't know about this was because Texas, it was a southern state, it was also west, it was really far away from where the fighting was happening. And so news was not traveling there very easily because they weren't seeing what was happening. And then a third reason is because, like I said, some white people in Texas were really getting a lot of power and money because of slavery, because they felt that they could own African American people and make them do whatever they wanted to do and not have to pay them, and they were getting really rich off this. So they did not want the enslaved people to get this news, so they were keeping that news from them. But there's one story in this era. There are many stories, but one I want to tell you about today is about Charlotte Brooks, who was an enslaved person, an African-American woman. She was born into slavery in Virginia, and when she was 17, she was sold, because at that time, people could buy other people, which is terrible, but she was sold to someone in Texas, and she had to move hundreds and hundreds of miles away from her family and her friends, all of her people, to go live on this plantation and to just work and do whatever the plantation owners said. And he was really mean, he was violent, he was cruel and terrible, and she couldn't do the things she wanted to do. She wasn't even allowed to go to church or to pray even. So she lived under that terrible situation. But then, there is a way for information to travel. And I'm wondering, have all kids gotten the special news? Kids in the playground? Lil, have you gotten the news about what's happening today? Did anybody tell it to you yet? Oh, kids, I need a kid to go help spread word over there. Riley, do you know it? Did you get the news yet? Okay, good. Max is on it. Okay, so word travels. So there was one day where Charlotte Brooks was in kind of a hidden spot in the kitchen, and there were some white folks in there talking about the news that these soldiers were coming to tell Texas about everybody being free. And so they were talking about how to keep this secret from the people who worked on this plantation. But Charlotte, she was hiding, and she heard the secret. And so you know what she did? She went and she told all the other enslaved people on the plantation this news, because this was huge, exciting news for her, because she was finally going to be free. And can you imagine how it would have felt to hear people trying to keep that huge, important news from you? And so she knew it was up to her to go and spread this word on her plantation. And so she went, she told people, and the network spread that information, just like how kids are spreading it right now. And then she and her daughter fled. They got out of there. She declared that she was free, and she left because she also knew it was going to be really dangerous to stick around because of how mad the plantation owners would be. And so that is how the people on that plantation got the word that they would be free. So that is not the only story throughout history and throughout slavery where there were networks of people who built trust, built connections, so that they could share important information that was being kept from them. They had to trust each other. They had to come up with secret codes. Sometimes they would sing their messages to each other so that only they would know the important information. And so maybe this week we can think about the ways that truth travels and news travels and how we even find the truth. And so maybe we can think about what truths are we listening to today or listening for? And what are the truths that we need to help other people to know that they may not already be getting? How can we share good news and hope and understanding? How can we create and be part of networks that help these truths travel? And I will leave us with the hope that may we be people who listen very carefully, who speak truthfully, and help good news find its way into the world. And so now, any kids who heard that good news, it's time to go outside for that secret good news.
During the month of June, our collection will be shared with the Crossroads House, providing emergency shelter to unhoused individuals and families and providing them with tools and resources to return to permanent housing. The shelter is open 24/7, and they currently house around 75 people per night. Please give as you are able. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share in love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
As we enter this time of prayer and reflection, I want to share with you a friend of mine recently went to Berlin for a work trip. She noticed there that surrounding the government buildings in the heart of the city were monument after monument dedicated to the Holocaust, to that tragedy, to the lives lost, to the terrible truths of what happened there. Every one of those monuments, she noted, was conceived, commissioned, sponsored, and paid for by the government. Although Germany's reckoning with this chapter in their history is not perfect, there was something powerful in seeing that public acknowledgement, she said. A willingness to say, this happened. These were our failures. These are truths we must not hide from. As we gather today in anticipation of Juneteenth, we recognize that this nation's government has never undertaken such a reckoning with its own terrible truths, with the genocide of Native peoples, with the long, violent history of slavery and racism in this country, with all that was taken, with all that was broken, with all that continues to live in our systems, our stories, our neighborhoods, our lives. So, let us pray. May we remember what has been hidden, delayed, and denied. May we honor those who carried the word of freedom when it was dangerous to speak. May we honor those who opened a door, shared a book, told a story, or pulled the world a little closer to justice. May we not wait for justice to bend on its own, but may we add our hands. May we add our courage. May we add our care. And may we be willing to hear what freedom is still asking of us now. Amen. Our words from the Invocation: circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release. Those words have been staying with me. What does it mean to free ourselves and each other? And what does that mean here in New Hampshire, where Juneteenth can feel like it points to somewhere else, to the South, to Texas, to another time, to other people? I've been sitting with those questions, and one recent experience just wouldn't let me go. A couple of weeks, I took some vacation time to do some house projects. They'd been accumulating for a while. And they had been starting to act up like small, anxious children clamoring for attention. My bathroom ceiling would call out to me every morning, "I'm peeling. When will you paint me?" The overgrown shrubs poking through my neighbor's fence were waving at me every day. "Hi, we're here. What will you do with us?" There were weeds in the lawn, there was that broken light fixture on the garage, and the paper towel holder sitting by the microwave that had been begging me to install her for months. I had my plan all mapped out: make a list, go to Home Depot. It was on my way to Home Depot that the call came in. And while I wish what had flowed from me had been patience and generosity, what I felt was tightness and resistance, especially when that fifth insistent ringing call came in on my personal cell. I'll call her Denise. She needed some help. She was frustrated, abandoned, anxious, and disabled. She had no place to stay. There were no shelter beds available. There would not be for weeks. An agency referred her to us. Could I help? I wish what had flowed from me was patience and generosity, but I confess that was not my first impulse. My impulse was, this can be quick. Call a hotel, find her a room, pay on the phone, 5 minutes tops, then back to vacation and Home Depot. I know, not my best pastoral moment. As it turned out, it was not quick. When I called the hotel, I got dropped 4 times. When I got through, I was on hold long enough to recall every other hold I'd ever been on and how much I don't like them. I finally connected with someone whose accent I didn't recognize and figured I'd probably been routed to a call center. The agent sounded irritated and impatient, or maybe that's what I was feeling, especially now that I was ruminating about call centers and extractive capitalism and companies who outsource to remote places to underpay workers and then give them scripts to milk customers for all they're worth. Okay, so I did not know any of that for a fact, but did I mention I was not feeling all that patient and generous? It didn't help when they quoted me $60 more than the room they had advertised on the web, which was $60 more than the budget we had set. This would not be quick. I called Denise back. We agreed she'd call a few places herself and see if she could find a room within a distance she could get to within the amount I could cover. When she called back, she sounded relieved. She'd found a room. I was relieved. The reservation agent was on the line too. Different person, different accent. Nigerian? I wasn't sure. I'll call her Regina. She had a room. She quoted us the price, almost double the number we had talked about. Denise thought I had said one thing. I was pretty sure I'd said something else, but there we were, with Regina explaining the rate, me trying to hold the church boundary while offering help, Denise just trying to get a room for the night. We were all getting a little tense. Well, maybe not all of us, because when she finally understood our dilemma, Regina offered to look for another room, and then another, and she kept searching for a room that would work. If she had a call script, she was not following it. Still, the match wouldn't come. Denise started saying, maybe just forget it, let it go. There was a long pause. I was doing math in my head, thinking budgets and exceptions, boundaries and limits, hotels and full shelters, nighttime and safety, and now, too, the fear that Denise might just hang up. Which was when Regina jumped in. You know, she said, computer keys still clicking while she searched, we're all just humans here. We just want you to have a roof over your head tonight, Denise. Yes, that is what we wanted. And one day, she continued, one day, I might be the one who needs help. Reverend Ellen might be the one who needs help. And you, Denise, you might be the one to offer it. She paused again. The typing stopped. Regina had found a room, named a number, close enough, relief. And something in me loosened. Not because we found a place, but because Regina's words had shifted my whole frame. This was no longer a transaction. Denise, not just a problem to solve. Regina, not just a voice at a call center. I wasn't just a minister trying to responsibly manage a fund. We were 3 humans in it together. That's where I want to be. And something loosened up in me. You know, while I can't know where Regina was sitting that day, I know I pictured her outside this country, beyond the field of money and hurry and individualism I was caught up in. Wherever she was, she seemed to know something I had temporarily forgotten. That help moves around, that need moves around, that none of us stays forever in the same chair. She widened the circle and put us all inside it. In recovery circles I've been part of, we talk a lot about awareness, acceptance, and action. Awareness is often the uncomfortable part. It's the reckoning. When you become willing to see what's going on, even if you do not love it. Buddhist nun Pema Chodron has this image of looking in the mirror and seeing a gorilla. Not the calm, wise, compassionate person you would hope would be looking back, but something a little less flattering. And in reflecting on this incident, what I saw was tightness, not enough money, not enough time, not enough patience, a vision of scarcity. That was the awareness something had got in my eyes. But then there's acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. It means acknowledgement. It means, instead of denial, yes, this happened. Yes, I know that tight place. Yes, I know the craving, the urgency, the desire to fix what's before me so I can feel better inside me, whether what's before me is a light fixture or an actual person. Yes, I know how easy it is to become less free than I want to be. Yes, I know. And this is where I also want to take a moment to be careful with this sermon. Denise's story is not the story of Juneteenth. My impatience is not slavery. My tightness is not Jim Crow. These things are not exactly the same, but they do brush up against a question that runs through this whole morning for me. What gets in the way of seeing? What was in my eyes? And what was in the eyes of the people who did not want the news of freedom to travel? What was in the eyes of people who looked at a stack of used textbooks and saw rules rather than kids? What stories were they living inside? What did they think was scarce? What stopped them from seeing these fully human, fully real children and people? I wonder, because here in New Hampshire, it can be easy to imagine racism and injustice as something far away, the South history, someone else's problem or blindness. But the habits that can keep us from seeing each other clearly are not always so far away. They live in systems. They live in laws and budgets and neighborhoods and schools and prisons and borders and policies. And sometimes they express themselves through us as hurry or scarcity or defensiveness or I don't have time for this or someone else should handle it or even I'm the helper here. I'm actually separate from this. A mentor once said to me, collective liberation includes you, Ellen. You also are not free. My sense of scarcity, my clamoring urgency, not freedom. The need to be a competent helper, the one with the card and the budget and the answer, that's not freedom either. Regina widened that circle, changed the whole frame, not fixed it, didn't finish it, but now a little less separate. Something's a little more real. So, awareness, acceptance, action, awareness, see the whole picture, even with parts I may not like. Acceptance, start where you are, envision from there. And then action. The work of Juneteenth, the getting more free, starts with the work of clearing our eyes. Not a one-time reckoning, but a practice. Asking what's in our eyes, asking what's narrowed, letting another person become fully real. And practice that leads somewhere to action, not necessarily heroic, but the next faithful step. For me, that began with talking to Kirsten, and both of us recognizing this is bigger than either one of us can address alone. We have gotten a lot of these kinds of calls lately. So let's invite colleagues in, local agencies in. That meeting's already set this coming Wednesday. Let's see what we can do together. One way the circle widens, not all at once, but starting with more humans. I've been reading Robin Wall Kimmerer about the gift economy lately and the idea that we might move through the world seeing one another not as problems to manage or interruptions to get through, but as sources of wonder and relationship. That vision has to live alongside less idealistic things, of course. The weeds are still in the lawn, but so is the grass, always trying to grow. And I look around this congregation, and I see people growing that vision, growing that grass. Everyone who shows up to teach, to serve, to tend a relationship, to organize for justice, to make that phone call. You are not just volunteering. You are practicing a different way of seeing. You're building something that runs against the grain of a world that tells us Denise is an interruption. You are helping make a place where people are more than their usefulness, more than their need, more than whatever the world might have called anyone. That is not nothing. That is one way the arc bends. There is more love somewhere. Sometimes it comes through a stranger's voice on the phone. Sometimes it's already here in the room and beyond it in the ordinary ways people keep showing up. Sometimes it starts with a whisper and spreads. Freedom has been delayed in many different ways, but it is still calling. May we hear that call. May we act on that call. May we keep on. May it be so. Amen. Let us rise in body or in spirit and join together in hymn number 1017 in your teal hymnal.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
We are all humans here here in this place and here beyond these walls. Each of us needing help sometimes. Each of us able to offer it sometimes. Each of us part of the circle. As we go from this place, may we keep building a new way with more room for truth, more room for care, more room for one another. And when freedom calls, may we hear it, may we answer, may we keep on. Amen. Go in peace.